So God is calling me to speak out about the subject of sex. And let me say this before I even get into my testimony. I already know all the different types of absurd biases and judgments that people like to try to pin on homosexuality, as if being heterosexual somehow makes people immune or exempt from having the very same character flaws within their community. Character flaws are not a community specific problem. They are not centrally associated with any one community. Character flaws are specific to the individual who possesses the flaws. Homosexual, bisexual, asexual, pansexual, heterosexual. There are individuals in every single one of these groups with a multitude of different character flaws and the sexual interests and decisions they hold personally. And no way to accurately determine the amount of prevalence of different flaws within any community, because that would require people to actually be honest about their personal struggles and shortcomings. And anybody with a logical and rational mind should know the unfavorable probability of that ever happening. But still, people project their fears, their beliefs, biases, and maybe even in some cases their own flaws onto others without taking evidence or proof into much consideration before deciding to form these stances and opinions. And that's not to say that taking a stance to err on the side of caution is not warranted in some cases, or even in many cases with specific individuals. But as for blanketly directing that energy towards an entire community without accurate evidence or statistics to back that up, it's reckless, inconsiderate, absurd, counterproductive, and it's prejudice. And it's also between you and God, who sees and knows everything. And with that said, that is why it's taken me a while to give my testimony and to speak on subjects that involve the topic of sex specifically. Because people don't have no chill. And because I don't owe nobody an explanation about a damn thing, to be quite honest. But I will say this, I am just as dependable as any other normal, saved, imperfect adult that will fall under any of the sexual preference groups. And we also need to get out of these sexual preference superiority complexes. Specifically because it's causing a divide within the black community between normal black men who could be assets to mentor and to help young black boys and young men who really need it, who are literally afraid of being just seen with young black boys who aren't their children, who aren't their own children, out of a fear that they'll be blanketly judged and seen as a pedophile by the people that they know. And this is men of any sexual preference. This is not just a homosexual specific problem. And the result is that young black boys without help or a worthwhile role model end up turning to the streets for help instead, ultimately falling into the hands or under the influence of not normal adult men who teach them how to live a life of crime that could have possibly been avoided had there not been this overhanging prejudice in the black community preventing normal black men from seeking to connect and mentor young black men and black boys. We got to stop being our own worst enemy. But that's a whole nother topic and issue that needs to be addressed at another time. This video is about me sharing my testimony and of what God delivered me from. Because God is saying to me that I have been taking too long to speak on it. And that's why, folks. But I'm almost salty about it. And if I'm being perfectly honest, I'm almost salty about it, because having to share my testimony of different sexual challenges that God delivered me from with a bunch of strangers online, knowing the type of prejudices that different people harbor, it's like, why would you even set me up like that, God? You're supposed to be my dad, bro. Um, I don't know of nan CEO ever in the history of the world who had to give a testimony of being delivered as a rite of passage to stepping into their position and into their purpose. But again, I just want to remind everybody that my situation is not typical. I'm not just a CEO, I'm also a prophet. And I know it sounds crazy, but the Bible says that God's thoughts are not our thoughts and his ways are not our ways. So it's not really for anybody to understand. And what's that doggone saying in the Bible, bro? Lean not on our own understanding. Yeah, lean not on your own understanding. Um, but I am his child, and this is the purpose he designated for me. And I'm pretty sure anybody watching this video, if given the opportunity to serve God and change your life, would do the very same. And with that said, God delivered me from a porn addiction. OnlyFans and Twitter mainly. And even though these sites are not really porn, but on Facebook and Instagram, like it was still like different videos and different folks that I would, I guess, lust after on those sites too. And it's crazy because I would screen record the videos that I liked, and rarely ever go back to my album to watch them, because every new session I was finding new videos and screen recording more and more videos that I would never go back and watch again. So my phone album was like just polluted with hundreds of explicit videos that I rarely ever watched, but that I had on standby, like just in case for some reason. And if I'm being perfectly honest, it was thousands of them bitches, like plural. Yeah, I was a big ass freak, y'all. I was a freak. Like yeah. Anyway, and I pray to God for strength every day, because a battle with our flesh and human temptations and weaknesses is not a battle that ever ends. It's something that will carry with us until the day we die, and hell, maybe even after. Who the hell knows what really goes on in the great beyond, right? But I haven't watched porn since I want to say July 2023. I'm proud of that. Other than that, I used to smoke weed damn near every day. Today, I haven't smoked since March, and even then, I had already slowed down from smoking almost every day from April, like, yeah, from April or May of 2023, I slowed down a lot. Hookup apps. I had stopped actually going on those a long ass time ago. Like God didn't really have to deliver me from those. Um, they were actually already whacked to me by the time that I realized I was even on this walk with God. The last person I would say that I met on the app was in like 2022, and even by then that was rare for me. And again, with all of these things, you got to pray and want to be better every day. And pray to God for the strength to be delivered from your own temptations and weaknesses. And then you got to make a decision to actually do better and try to be better. I would say for me personally, what helped me to be delivered and to stay delivered is having something going on in my life that requires me not to do those things, that I actually want more, and that will ultimately bring me more fulfillment in my life once I reach my goals, than any of those things that I had to ever give up, or any of those things that I had to give up ever could. Which for me, staying focused on building my company Address Me, and now I can say it's also me looking forward to stepping fully into my purpose and position that God has designated for me. So for me, it was about finding something important to me to place my time, focus, and money on that will put me in a better position and on course to reaching my dreams, that meant way more to me than any of that other junk. And it's up to you to figure out what works for you. Last thing I want to say, I want to give everybody watching this video a dream building exercise. I want you to go on YouTube and search for Ennis Yilmiser and watch some of his house tour videos. Also, look up Jason Matuk and Darren Kriz on YouTube and watch some house tour videos. And as you watch them, and as you watch the videos, believe that one day you can own a house like that. And as they walk through the houses and give the tours, picture yourself in the different rooms that they walk through. What would you be doing in each one of those different rooms? Who would you have with you? How would y'all be turning up? Visualize. Get used to putting images like that inside your mind and believing that it's actually possible for you, because it is, no matter where you come from. Get used to wanting more for yourself and believing that you can get there. And that should help you to not only want to start pulling back from some of the habits and things that take your focus away from getting yourself there, but once you believe in yourself and start to see the possibilities for yourself, other than just jail and struggle and things you see every day, then that should make it easier for you to that should also make it easier for you to be happy for other people when they reach their goals, knowing that it's possible for you too if you just stay focused and find your purpose. But do that exercise for me, y'all, man. It should be fun. Like, it's fun looking at nice houses anyway, so this should be something that's easy for y'all to do. All right, y'all be safe today. Stay out the way. Take everything one step at a time, one day at a time. Focus on finding yourself and finding your purpose. I love you, King V. H&R.